Alrighty, hello my friends. Welcome back to our second installment for the videos for this week. So if you didn't watch the first video, first of all, rewind back and go check that one out because it leads up to this one. So do that. I do list them in order, so this will be a thing that you learn as well. The videos that I make tend to be watched in order. You don't necessarily have to, I guess, or if you're just some like internet creepo coming up on my videos, you're of course more than welcome to watch them out of order or what have you. But generally the videos will probably play off of the last ones, so it's good to watch them in order. Another thing I forgot to mention in the first video, and something that you will come to recognize in your content quizzes, if you're watching these for the environmental science class, is to pay attention, because sometimes I'll put little Easter eggs within the videos and I'll ask you a question about it on the content quiz. That's really just so I make sure that you're watching the videos and paying attention to them. It may just be, did I reference such and such, or what movie did I reference, or what example did I use? So be sure to pay attention to that. And I do that for a reason, because people weren't watching my videos and I put work into making these, or I put time into making these. Not so much like extra effort is made into making like TikTok style videos. Listen, you girl ain't got time for that. But I do try to still make them approachable and engaging for you all to watch. I try to not be boring. Sometimes the content is a little boring though, I will admit, but I try not to. Anyways, from the last video, I introduced this term. Do you remember what it is? It's the very last term. If you guessed sustainability, you're very right. So I asked you to think about what that definition means to you, and I want you to still think about, in your own words, what does sustainable mean? And if you thought in your brain, sustainable would mean to be able to harvest resources not so quickly that they can still replenish. Probably not a great way to word that, but you're able to take resources in a manner that doesn't completely deplete them to make them go away before they're able to come back. All right. So if you were to sustainably have a garden, like a flower garden, like a little patch of flowers, and you picked all of them so that you could make a pretty bouquet for your friend. Well, if you picked all of the flowers that are there without anything that's like new and upcoming for like new bulbs or what have you, new blooms are coming up, then you have unsustainably picked those flowers, right? Does that make a little bit of sense? I hope. You'll also find that I often will make up analogies on the fly, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't, and so and sometimes maybe you can relate to them and sometimes you can't, so you'll learn that as we go forward in the semester. Anyways, when we consider sustainability within development, and your book goes into this idea as well, and this is the definition from your book actually, is that it's the development that meets the present needs without compromising the ability of future generations to do the same. Read that one more time, slowly, dissect that definition, think about it, think critically about it. What does this mean? We also want to keep in mind that it means that there shouldn't be a privileged group and there shouldn't be a privileged time. I recognize that this is not how things have been run for most of my life and most of lives previous to me or years previous to me. It's not how we've run this planet, unfortunately, but this would be the idea of what it should be, right? This idyllic sort of definition and how we go about running our societies. Obviously, it's not how it's worked out, especially if you are in the Gen X, Millennial, Alpha, Z area. It's not working out for us, sadly. And of course, we know that there are privileged groups, right? And it can vary from society to society, but generally the rich people tend to do best off. Anyways, There's also a link in the Canvas page underneath this video that should link the Brundtland report from 1987, and this is where this definition really came to be. So to break this definition down a little bit further, Venn diagramming it, yeah, we love Venn diagrams around here. So the idea would be to break this up into 3 different sectors. We would have the environmental, the social, and the economic sections, and where all 3 of these disciplines meet would be sustainable development. These are kind of the 3 primary objectives that have to be applied simultaneously, or meaning at the same time, that interacts with one another in a consistent and committed effort. So say if the social and the environmental parts are acting like really, really well together, but the economic portion is not, then we're off balance and it's not quite working out to the full realm of sustainable development. Again, I very much understand that this is not necessarily how things are working at the moment, but this is our sort of ideal of what we would want to work towards. And what, one reason why we still have classes like this is so that we can learn about what it should realistically be like, so we can work towards this goal, if that makes sense. So this is a pretty simplistic version of it. I actually even just pulled this Venn diagram off of Google, but the United Nations also recognizes this idea, and they have their own set of sustainable development goals. And oh good, this image actually worked out really well. On my computer, it was looking kind of grainy, so I'm excited it looks the way that it does. So this is from your book. So the United Nations actually has 17 sustainable development goals. Basically no poverty, right? We would want to eliminate extreme poverty by 2030. We're actually not doing too bad with that, or with zero hunger, eliminate hunger by 2030. Also, listen, if you're watching this in fall of 2024, which is when I'm recording this video, we're only 6 years off. So if you're watching this in later years, maybe 2025 or later, we're closer and closer to that goal. So maybe assess how we're doing. Maybe how are we doing now? That kind of thing, right? And other things here as well. Hopefully no life below water. Our goal here is to reduce ocean pollution. Are we working towards that globally or not? Or is it just certain companies that are doing that? So just really kind of interesting. I encourage you to pause this video, dive deeper into these ideas. Your book, again, goes into decent detail about all of this stuff, but I think it's kind of interesting to see what the United Nations recognizes as these various goals. And I also want you to consider, which do you think would be the hardest to reach? And what kinds of things do you think can be done to help achieve these goals? And I encourage you to look at the ones that don't already have little blurbs of what these goals could be. Maybe look at, okay, so decent work in economic growth. Maybe you are an econ major or an accounting or business major. This could be something along your discipline or around your area of expertise. So also, again, noting that different areas of expertise, interdisciplinary, right? Education, healthcare, gender equality, things like that. These are all different disciplines. So it takes all of us to make these things work. And last little bit that I want to go into for this video is identifying that there's two main themes for this class. And the first theme is that, environmental issues and solutions offer opportunities. So we often think about, and I go into this little loop as well of just doom and gloom, right? My discipline is earth science, and frankly, it's pretty freaking depressing. We're not doing this planet any good right now. So I can go into a doom and gloom spiral, but I think it's really important to note that we can not do that. We can go into environmental sciences in a way that can be prosperous, like new jobs, new technologies, new entrepreneurial opportunities, money-saving opportunities, community building, networking, etc. There's tons of new technologies coming out all the time and advancements in these technologies. I know that EVs are not going to change the world, or they're not going to save the world from climate change, but I think going into that arena and bettering that technology is going to be massive against gas guzzling automobiles. You know what I mean? Like, so that's causing innovation and like causing us to think outside of the box and to develop these new things to better the environment, to better our society, and to keep it moving forward and still be profitable. You know what I mean? Like, so it's really honing all those things in. So we are going to see so many examples of this throughout the semester. So I'm really, really excited to showcase them, but also for you to showcase back to me, right? Learning's a two-way street. Learning and teaching's a two-way street. So I'm really, really excited to see what y'all have to say overall. And I also want you to know that your actions do make a difference, y'all. Like, it's not just like, oh, I can't do anything. I'm just one little person. One little thing can't do something. Yes, it can. Y'all, like, everything has, all great movements started small, right? Every good movement that has occurred in, especially in our country's lifetime, has started as a small grassroots sort of thing. So I'm here for it. And then lastly, I just wanted to share this quote from Margaret Reed. So she was a famous anthropologist. Never underestimate the power of a small group of committed people to change the world. In fact, it is the only thing that ever has. So think about all of the major changes that have happened in our country's life. Civil rights movement, women's movement, women's suffrage, even the birth of our birth of our country has come from something small and has been able to grow into what it is. You know, there's lots of things that you could compare this to now, of course, but I thought that was just a really neat thing. So it's not all doom and gloom, right? We're going to see the ways that are making things better, but still being practical on that, you know, it's not perfect, but listen, we're getting there, okay? So that's it for sustainability and sustainable development. Next up, in our next video, we'll talk about different classes of environmental issues. So thanks again for watching.